Hey!
What's up?
It's a new episode. We have Kent with us. That's a very unexpected start to an episode that we're here with Kent at Kent's house in undisclosed location in the Carolinas. Somewhere. It is the night before our journey began. Actually, my journey already began. We have, what's the puppy's name?
Jade.
Jade. Come here.
You wanna come up, Jade? Yeah.
A puppy too. Good puppy.
You having fun?
Yes.
Oh, now you want to be in the entire video.
Yes, that's all right. Unfortunately, like we talked about, Kaya has good and bad. The team is in the state playoffs.
Awesome.
So they've got competition Friday night, hopefully ongoing for the next 6 weeks if they keep winning. She has that obligations, and Natalie's not feeling well, and she's got some work stuff and some other things, actually, that have recently come up. So she's not able to make the trip, which is sad, but I have a buddy to take the trip with me. So I decided to drive up to Kent's house, which is about 25% of the way. It is a long drive from Atlanta to New Jersey. But we got part of the way here. We're in the Carolinas, and we're going to hang out a little bit tonight and start our video. So now this is going to be the start, actually, hopefully, within the last day, you saw a little preview teaser of LegionsCon itself, depending on what we were able to do. Most of this is dependent on the hotel Wi-Fi, because as I'm recording this, it is Tuesday night. This is Sunday's video. I have no video in the can. I have not had a video in the can in years, many years. So that is all dependent on the hotel Wi-Fi working.
We're counting on you, Jeremy.
The Marriott, which I am a lifetime Marriott Platinum member, so hopefully they give me good Wi-Fi. But we're going to drive up tomorrow, Wednesday. We're going to get up really early, get out of here, get up there. There's already people there. Try to start the fun. And this video will encompass Intern for a day, which happens on Thursday, and G-Con, which is the Four Horsemen's big reveal convention, Friday. And then it'll end. I hope there's enough in that. And then next week, we'll get LegionsCon itself. That way we can kind of extend this Mythic Week over 2 weeks. I am kind of pushing the envelope to get it up so that those of you who can't go to these events will be able to watch it as it's happening, instead of sometimes, 2 or 3 weeks later, like my videos are, where I get ahead. So that's my hope, is that the people can enjoy. But before we get the road, there's a lot of Legions around. We might take a little sneak peek at what Kent's got going on. Just a quick debris look, as there's a custom workshop going on. And then we'll jump ahead to something tomorrow, whether it's Buc-ee's. I don't know. Is there Buc-ee's on our way? Do you know?
Could be.
Would you eat Buc-ee's if it was on the way?
Yeah, for sure.
And I do also, we're going to stop and talk, think about what we're excited for on this weekend. You didn't not been to LegionsCon, right?
This is first LegionsCon.
First LegionsCon for me as well. Now, certainly I've been to many conventions of all types. Yep. Huge ones, small. New York Comic Con, all the way down to a little $5 convention that like 10 people went to. So everything in between. So I'm truly interested to see. I am grateful to the Horsemen for having us. It's going to be a good time, and we're going to get the full experience. So that's what we got going. Let's look at some of the Legions here. If you're not interested in Legions, these videos may not necessarily be for you, but I think it's going to be a pretty unique experience because this community is pretty close-knit. It's also a bit older, in my perspective, than some of the other communities. Folks are not quite as combative and toxic. And it doesn't mean it's not there. But I think the people that you're going to see here, it's going to be appreciated, the way that they enjoy this hobby and that we enjoy this hobby. So here we go. We've got Intern for a day. We got G-Con. We got a bunch of Mythic Legions. Let's get on it and rub it.
Let's go rub it.
No, I'll try it. So this is just Kent's little workshop area, which I'm very jealous of. He's got quite a big space. It's like various kitchen counters.
Yeah.
It really is. It's like 3 different kitchen counters in here. So like a workshop like a shed. So you can see his, almost everything out here. There's some pop and swap. Is there anything that is as it comes? I mean, those guys are just kind of chilling. Those are not her normal arms, are they? Or did you paint those arms?
Painted them.
So almost everything out here, you've done something to.
Oh, yeah.
Or is in progress. He looks pretty standard.
He is, yeah.
And he hasn't got his punishment yet. If you've been following Kent's channel, certainly. I mean, I'm sure if you follow me, you follow Kent. He is really good about finding things like this, random McFarlane, or I don't even know what I just picked up there. Oh, that's a Power Rangers. Isn't that a Power Rangers, dude?
Yeah.
And finding ways to use them. And then plus you see you got a bunch of 3D printed stuff. So he paints. It's a nice little paint station. And then are all these guys in some form of finished status? You got a lot of cats. I like the cats. There's the Vampire Kent revealed. Most recent wave. Are you going to use that clock in some way? What's that?
Eventually, yeah. I need to do a whole figure obscure shelf.
Yeah. And he's got some random stuff back there. So if you watch Friday Fun Day with Kent, I think that's what you call it, right?
Oh, yeah. Friday Fun Day display.
Is it here? Is that usually where that's happening?
A lot of it's there and then the table behind you.
There and here. So see a lot of that, but a little behind the scenes, and Legion's heavy. So Ken and I are going to get some food. Unless something really interesting happens there, I'm not going to show you that, but we'll be on the road next clip. But it's cool to see a person's kind of workspace and just see the attention to detail. I'm so jealous because it's like I don't have a good place to leave things out, and I think such a big element of this, whether it's customizing, pop and swap, or figure photography, is you kind of got to leave it, think about it, come back to it. I don't really have a good place to do it. You know, I want to put it away so it's not messy. But it's going to be messy. Yeah. It's messy. It's what it is.
Area is helpful, that's for sure.
Yeah, so jealous of the space. I think you've been doing a lot of cool stuff. And we're going to see a lot of cool stuff this weekend. I told y'all a fib. We're at the Landmark Diner for dinner. Look at the size of that turnover. I got the wide lens on, too. Look at the size of that. Woo! Woo! Syrup in it?
Pour right.
You just gonna pour it right in the mouth?
I'm trying not to pour it all over the bottle. Man.
I went for the open-faced turkey sandwich and some green beans.
Oh, you're not gonna be
went on to breakfast. And then something out of case, maybe.
Ooh,
yeah.
Something out of case.
Yes. I had to do it, Kent. I had to.
When in Rome.
After the feast, I snuck back in here to show you some more Kent's Legions set up. Look at all these Templars, Skellies. Look at that Jester Skelly. Throne room. Got like the pit. Got all his Centurion skeletons, like fallen champions, I think he called them. Some up there, and then up there we got a bunch of gobbies. See all the gobbies? And then if you follow Kent, you know he's a big Legends guy. So he's got a bunch of Legends over here. But this is Mythic Week. Down there, what do we got? Vampires. More vampires. So, very cool. I like that throne room. Kent, I can have this Delta Gar? I can have Delta Gar? That's
a good one.
No! Popo. All right.
You get all the goblins?
I did. They look awesome. So, thought I'd show you all that. On we go. Well, it's the next morning. It is 7:43. We've been on the road for about 3 hours, a bit less. We're here at Duck in Delhi. Mark for all. Number 4. Duck in Delhi, Ken.
I wanted some donuts.
Yeah, we would eat that right there, Route Donuts. But this is our first stop. We're in Virginia. Where in Virginia? I don't know. A place that at every interstate exit, when it says breakfast items, they're not there. Oh, McDonald's, Hardee's.
Two more miles.
Yeah. And then all the coffee and donut places are closed. Now, I mean, it is before 8 a.m., so maybe the folks there in the mountains don't get going. I don't know. But we're on our way.
Going.
Oh, candied bacon, yes. You see Jim? On the bicycle? It's been many hours. Many hours later. We left about 12 hours. 11, no, that's not true. About 11. There was quite a bit of road work in Pennsylvania, unfortunately. But we're now here, which is great, at the Hanover Whippany Marriott. We're glad to be here for the next 5 or 6 days. Isn't that right, Kent?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Nice big hotel and convention center over there. Looks like a lot of Four Horse. That is Jim. It's actually, those are the boxes of Horseman stuff. Right there. Getting it unloaded. We walk in and immediately the gallery. Look at all those chickens. So one of the greatest things, this hotel is beautiful, by the way, just checked in, is I'm a lifetime Platinum Marriott member. Those of you who follow the channel for a long time know that I used to travel all the time for work. So I have lifetime Platinum here. So I got a $10 voucher to use at the Irish pub. He's right there. There's Jeremy, hold on. Jeremy's in there with the team there, unloading the truck for LegionsCon. But so I get a voucher at the Irish pub, I get free breakfast and bottles of water over here at the M Club Lounge. Once the weekend hits, I get free breakfast at Seeds Restaurant. Just a little part of shave in there. M Club Lounge. Courtyard area over here is nice. It's a very nice hotel. So thankful to the LegionsCon team for picking such a nice hotel. I'd love for it to be here at the Marriott. You see Jim, one of the horsemen. They're working on things. This is a beautiful lobby. Kent's getting checked in over there. Irish pub. I'm sure that place is going to be popping in there. You see a whole lot of Legions and all is well. Gorgeous courtyard, and I'll show you the room when I get there. I'll try to give you a good overview of the facility. I know Jeremy's done it, but I really want to make sure everyone gets to see what the full experience is like. And since we're here early, I should be able to do it. Big Greg.
What up, what up, what up?
Give us a little rub it. Say rub it.
Rubble.
Yes. I'm in the middle of unpacking, but I've been summoned to the pub. I've been summoned to the pub. I've been summoned. Summoned to the pub. I've been summoned. Oh, sing it. I've been summoned to the pub. I've been summoned to the pub to rub it. Hello.
Oh.
All right, good to see Trevor real quick. Sorry for the quick Greg, Jeremy, Trevor closet. Here's my room in the Marriott. Like I always do in my old days, travel vlogs. Bathroom looks nice. Turn that light on for you. Nice bathroom. This, unfortunately, feels like home. There's my luggage right there. Got the TV, got a nice bed, nice area to sit, hang out, nice area to stack up your action figures that you purchase. It's possible. There's a fridge. Yeah, a little mini fridge down there. Let's see what my view is. A ball of water. Oh, actually, it's a nice view. Sun is setting. See the trees. It's beautiful. So I'm gonna unpack. I'm gonna rest. I may run down to the lounge real quick, see if I can show you that. Let's see if I'm allowed to go in there right now. Ooh, yes. All right, I can get some sodas and waters. And they'll have some football. They'll have hors d'oeuvres later, like 5 o'clock. They'll probably have a buffet. I can print. Yeah, so, man, I haven't been in one of these lounges in so long. But they'll have food up in about an hour for free. Well, included. In a little private area, which will be nice at a convention where there's so much going on. All right, I'm gonna go chill in my room and relax, and we'll check in later. The window may be dirty, but look how beautiful my sunset is. Wow. It's gonna be a gorgeous week. Very short-lived rest. There's a lot of work folk here. I've been summoned to the pub. Been summoned back to the pub. Been summoned back to the pub. I've been summoned back to the pub. That's what we're gonna do. I told Jared Toybro he's coming down.
Oh, nice, cool.
So we'll.
So what do we got, 6 then? I think these guys are going to need
Yeah.
if they're not going over.
The more the merrier.
Going this way. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
But then what do you have to do? You hold up volume up?
Like screenshot. So if you click it, it's going to take a picture.
I've got an extra button now on mine, on the new phone.
I got the 2.
Are you getting the turkey mound? Jared, turkey mound? Not for you? Guinness.
Yeah, because
Oh, yeah.
That's possible? Yes. Medium rare? You got medium rare?
I got medium well. I can't. Just let us.
Van Haven, sir.
Not so much over here. We've moved from dinner, and there's just been a
Get the wagon.
wagon delivery of a Sentinel, which not what I expected to see in LegionsCon.
Yeah, I didn't expect I was going to have to get a
We're
car
within
seat.
20 minutes of this vlog, and we've moved to Marvel Legends. Not expected. Are you going to ride it like a horsey?
No, I'm going to get it a car seat and strap it in on the way home. So.
I'm talking about in there.
Oh.
Hey! I'm back in the room. It is just about 7:30. In fact, Mythic Custom Jeremy will go live from the studio here in just a few minutes. I'll hang out and watch that. It was good. I had dinner with Brad and Mike from Legion's Lair, right? Legion's Lair? There's so many. I get confused. Trevor, 1/6 shooter, Jared, Toybro, and Kent. We had a nice kind of kick off the festivities. Then we saw Curtis, Ryan. We've seen so many people already. And I just filmed a few clips. I'm trying not to film too much right now because we still have all day at Intern, all day at G-Con. So I don't want to just have a lot of random clips of us. But there's going to be quite a bit of nonsense after dark, I believe. But we're just going to hang out, and I may go back downstairs and hang out some more. And if anything interesting happens, I'll show you. But so far, so good. It already feels like a family reunion, even though about half these people I've never met before. So that's really cool. It's really cool. Big thumbs up so far. Just riding out the fire. What you got going on over there, Curtis?
What's that?
What you working with there? Watching a little action?
Little Jeremy messaging Len. Got my wife down here.
Hey.
Kind of chilling by the fire.
By the fire. This doesn't need to close at 10 o'clock. I'm going to have to figure out who we need to
Yeah.
give some tips to. Because this is very nice out here.
Yeah.
This place will be popular. Which everybody's watching the same thing. I'm going to look at the fire and I'm going to listen. I'm going to eavesdrop.
It's Wednesday night.
That's true.
Well, he's
That's
got
true.
Treadaway on, and that's always a great show.
Yeah.
So.
Treadaway said he wants to be sitting here by the fire just a minute ago.
Yeah.
Little FOMO. Firing it. What do we got going on here? What do we got going on? What? I just seen him give his son a 6-pack. This is a 6-pack. Oh, I mean that's Walter came with the company apparently. Yeah.
It's a party.
He came with the company.
What's up, man?
Just holding up shop in the lobby. Give us a little rub it. Give us a rub it. Hey, oh, got him. So, Benny, what are you most excited for this week?
Everything. Especially you check out with you fellas, you know, it's the best.
That's the best part.
That's the best part.
Hey, just look at what's happening all around us. Just everybody chilling.
Everybody's relaxing, talking, strategizing, drinking.
Water.
Water, yes.
Water. That's it. No.
So, I'm not drinking nothing yet, but I'll get some water soon.
I had to go pee. LegionsCon. This is the first time I've been down here. So that's the lobby where we all have been hanging out, and actually out by the fire pit. But this is the more convention space, and I guess in there is where the action is at. A bunch of us are out by the fire. So I'm going to head back out there. But I'll give you a view hallway. So like the convention itself is kind of separate from where the restaurants are and check-in and so forth. So good spacious venue. Out in the courtyard. What time is it? 11:11. Yep, rubbing it. What's going on out here? Seth's just in the hood. Now you're in the video, see? Now you don't have to yell at me. This is kind of a silhouette. Yes, that's right. Who's up to no good? Walt's up to no good. It is cold. That's the truth. That's the truth. We're just hanging out.
I could hear spanking, moaning, and ooh. I really hope it's not one of your friends next door. Now, the man is growling. Monkey face. I thought they were done, but they're back at it. Now she's moaning and yodeling. This is what the Swiss.
I've never been a girl.
Back at my room after a wonderful day one. Kind of preview day. We are out by the fire for a while. It's about midnight. It's not terrible. I mean, who all was out there? Jared was out there. Chris, Walter, Nolan, Benny, Seth. I mean, just so many people having such a good time, just hanging out, chopping it up. And I'm going to try to just have some clips of that stuff, sometimes more than others, especially as it gets a little busier. Because that's what is so special about conventions like this that are everybody already kind of knows each other or feels like they know each other from the internet. Is it's hard to capture what makes it so special, and it's those moments where you get to hang out in the lobby or hang out by the fire or whatever. So I really want to capture that in these vlogs so you can kind of get a feel for, it's not just about the toys and the customs and the whatever. It is entirely the community. Everything else is just a vessel for community, right? That's why we do hobby, is for reasons like that, so we can find a community. So I'm gonna try to capture that. I need a rest. We got Intern for a day starting in like 9 hours. So I'm gonna rest. We'll check in tomorrow. That's the next morning I wanted to show you. We got some breads. I'm in the lounge, of course. Fruits, sausages, eggs, cereals, milks, coffees. He's calling.
Coffee lines.
Have coffee. Have sausage.
Sausage.
Have sausage. I was in the lounge. The M Club. Overall, everybody's coming in. It's the next morning. Did you have a good time last night?
Yeah.
We're excited for this. Excellence. Hi. Little man. Look, see, now you're on the video, see? Yeah, there you go. He was shy last night. It's Walt. So we're all headed to Intern this morning, to the studio. I'm going to eat some fruit first. Try not to die. Gotta try to be as healthy as possible when possible in this type of scenario. You had salad and salmon last night. Will you be having that all week? Or will you going to try a cheeseburger?
I'm like a fish and chips.
Oh, it was good. That's the truth. That's the truth. I will say, Kent, going in the lounge where you have to have platinum status or higher, or you have to spend however much money. Everybody in there is the folks in the suits going to work, and I walk in there in my Cosmic Legion shirt, and they're all just staring at me, and I'm like, don't get it wrong, this is just my pajamas. Like, most of the time I'm in that.
Right?
It's all good. He doesn't belong. He doesn't belong.
Got that status.
Give us a little shake, a little dance. Give us a little, ooh, ooh, yeah, that's right, ooh. Little man's brought his custom action figure. What'd you do to it?
Just pop it.
You gave it this this brown boot situation and gloves. Is that what you do when you go out sometimes? You swap out your shoes and gloves. You probably don't have to wear a lot of gloves in California, huh? Is it cold enough to wear gloves?
No.
I like it.
Coldest it's ever gone is probably like 50.
That's nice. So what does he normally have? Hooves?
Yeah, he used to.
Have you ever put hooves on yourself? Would you, if you could change your feet out to hooves?
No.
Not me either. It feels like that would hurt a little bit. I think it looks good. You gonna try to sell them at the convention?
Especially stepping on a nail with the hoof. I think it's all protected.
Yeah, that's true. You got his sword and shield. Does he have a spear too?
Yeah.
No, I don't remember what he comes with. Do you remember?
No.
No.
I think he came with this. Yeah, he came with a spear.
Is he one of your favorites? Of the new ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
It's either him or
The orc
Yeah.
with the teeth out. Yeah, I like him too. We have arrived. There you see Nolan and Kent. They rode with me, filming it up. And this is the studio. When I get at a better angle, you'll see the green Four Horsemen logo right there. Kent, give us your Four Horsemen dance. We got to have the ride it like a horsey too. So we got to ride it. Yeah, that's right. That's the one. I'm actually back at the hotel. I'm interrupting this video because a lot is about to happen over the next hour plus of this video. And it was hard for me to narrate what was going on. So I wanted to kind of interrupt with a couple things. So we're about to go inside, and it's almost like an intro, like you just kind of wander around and see all kind of cool stuff. So we're going to see prototypes, 2-ups, toys that the Horsemen have worked on, the entire collection of Mythic Legions, all sorts of stuff. And then we're going to get some breakfast and some introductory stuff. And then I'll come back and introduce what happens next. We have arrived. Just the display case as you walk in. I guess these are all things they've worked on. It's going to be a bit chaos. Chaosing it up. Show them, Kent. Show them the action. It's just the lobby. It doesn't look terribly dissimilar to the entrance to my home, actually. Kent, is that right there? The white one? Is that cockatrice?
Don't tell me you need
Is that what that is, Nolan? That's what it is, yeah?
I think so.
I believe that's cockatrice.
Did you get that big bird?
Oh. Yeah. Looks like my order is here.
Okay.
There it is. It's here. That's my order. They had it ready for me. Yeah, I just checked all the boxes. Put times to 50. There it is. Yeah, the wall. Selfie with the wall.
See Sherry.
It is.
Totally.
It's gorgeous.
I've never seen in person because I'm such a cherry fan.
That is awesome. Try not to get on punishment. I'm just finding my way around to different things. That's a Battle Beasts office there. I see a bunch of Battle Beasts. Yeah, avoid punishment. That's true. We probably won't. Oh, there's just, that's not an expensive just ledge right here. Look at this ledge and just look at the price. Come here, Nathaniel, come right over here. You, Nathaniel. Look at the price of that ledge right there. It's like at least $1,000 ledge.
It's just hanging out.
Kicking it.
Covered in dust.
Kicking it.
Just hanging out.
Wow. I have permission to show you this for the video. So if you're watching this video as it comes out Sunday, this is now on display at LegionsCon, but this is debuting here. The life-size Olek, which is absolutely amazing. Thanks to Jeremy for letting me capture this for you guys here in the studio. Just hanging out in the copy room. And there's these. Trevor would know.
Nice to meet you.
Trevor, is that a 2-up or is that a statue?
That's a 2-up.
That's a 2-up, right? Yeah. From way back when.
They've got more 2-ups over there, like Stratos and.
I'm gonna have to make my way over there.
So, I'm sorry, you are.
It's also a Bronx Tale. What? We got some of the newest stuff. We got Figura Obscura.
Diego lives in Lodi, Lodi, New Jersey, and does all the customer service
Magic
and works for the
effects,
studio. All that good
inbox,
stuff. This is my son Walter.
boxes, stuff.
This is Diego.
Nice to meet you, Walter.
Look at this big boy.
So, he's like enjoying all this.
Oh man. Just maneuvering around.
Yeah.
Trying not to get in punishment. Here's all the new prototypes and
Look at those cappers. One on that.
that's the newest. It's just a variety pack. Oh yeah, look at that. That's a 2-up there too. Man, how cool is that?
Look at the piano.
Orca. Is that your piano? My man.
The story about the dinosaur sportsman.
Yeah, that's true. So cool. So cool.
Yeah, this is where the show
I'm sneaking in. I'm sneaking in. Oh, yes. Now that also looks like my house as well. Pretty similar. Now we've entered the break room. Got Eric in there, Bill, Claire, everybody in here. I should have known the muffins is where. I was like, where did I go? And then I found food and I found everyone. So, I feel I've made a poor choice. Skipping the food.
If you find the food, you'll find the people.
That's true.
To be here for the luck of winning the lottery, whether you're a paid intern or an invited guest, we're so happy to have you here today with us. We've got a pretty cool day planned. So I'm going to break down a little bit about what we're going to do so you know what the expectations are.
So we're going to break out into 4 groups. And what's going to happen is there's technically 5 breakout sessions. 3 of them are an hour long. 2 of them are 30 minutes each, and you alternate. And you kind of get to see the life cycle of creating a Mythic Legion, which is really cool. So our first breakout session was with Eric Treadaway, one of the horsemen and the lead sculptor, I would say, of the studio. And he's going to do a sculpting demo for us in ZBrush. It's digital. It's up on the screen. And he's going to start with just a ball, and he's going to turn it into something while he talks to us about his process. Now, if those of you that have been watching the channel this year back at Toyland, Kaya had an idea, and it was in her, we had our customs contest. And she had an idea that she wanted to have a face that like a curse had taken over a man, but it got interrupted. So partial man, partial curse. And she tried to paint that and did a really good job on her custom figure. And if she had been here, she wasn't able to come. We've talked about because of her color guard team doing really well. She would have asked for that. And so I did. I asked for her. I told Eric she wouldn't be able to be here. And what could he sculpt that for us? And he did. So I have a lot of footage here. This is going to be pretty long, maybe 40, 45 minutes of Eric Treadaway of Four Horsemen Studios, one of the horsemen, one of the owners, sculpting this idea of a man that has been corrupted by a demon, and part of his face is demon and part of it's man. And he talks a lot about his process. There's a lot of Q&A. I'm not going to cut any of it out. I think it's super interesting. It may not be for everybody. You can certainly move ahead till you see like not just Eric there in a computer screen. But I want Kaya to be able to see it. I want it to be something that she can enjoy. So this will be a long portion of the video, but here's Eric talking to us about how he sculpts.
You know, a brief sculpting demonstration. At the beginning of Mythic Legions, we were sculpting traditionally, you know, in Castelline, which is like a clay wax hybrid, which we'd been using that for decades leading up to Mythic. And over the course of Mythic and into Cosmic, we've switched over to digital sculpting, which has made a lot of what we've been able to do possible. I just, just the amount of work that we can put out and the way we can push the designs, the details, and really every aspect of the figures. And it certainly makes a session like this more doable. Traditionally, like in the amount of time I have here, I could warm up some clay and, make a ball and, put a couple of dents in it. So the symmetry's just one of the most powerful tools within ZBrush, but you have to be careful with it because natural form like the human face is not perfectly symmetrical, and that's what gives faces their character and their individuality. So I generally will keep the symmetry on, but then there's a point unless it's like, a robot or something like that, there's a point where you got to take it off and start putting that character into it. And that really is something you kind of learn along the way is like, when do you do that? And what's going on here, this is a really good example because there's going to be a very definitive point where I'm going to take the symmetry off here. Because, building the base here of a symmetrical face is, that's, you can't have the asymmetry isn't going to have any effect unless you start off with that symmetry. That it's that contrast. And so, very much like sculpting, in traditional clay, I've got a toolbox here to pull from, and it's a lot of push and pull, a lot of subtraction and addition, kind of jumping back and forth between the two. But here you have, you can save the file over and over again. You can step backwards, which all, and those aspects to me are one of the exciting parts of using this, because from a decision-making standpoint, it allows a boldness and a kind of a fearlessness that you wouldn't really, you couldn't do traditionally, because you've got a backup, you've got a fail safe. So I can just do that, and then
It's your new alien.
it's that. So if I were to do that in clay, I would be in tears.
Eric, how often do you save?
Not enough sometimes, because there are definitely been times where I've lost a significant amount of work. There's now a nice feature in ZBrush is that there is an autosave feature, and you can set it for how often it comes on, how many it keeps, things like that, and that has saved me in dramatic ways at times. But I mean, there's some times where the program it can be glitchy, so where it'll go a long period and you don't realize it, where it didn't autosave. And there's certain functions within ZBrush that they're just more prone to issues, like the slicing tools, this decimation master, where you're taking the file size down for print, where you start pre-processing it, and if there's a problem in the file, it's not even just shutting down the program. It's you actually have to restart the computer, right. And it sucks. Yeah. And so and that's a lot of times where I realized, whoops, I didn't save this before I got into this function. And what's cool here, I'm using this Damien standard brush right here, and on this single tool, it's nice because I can change the size of the tool. I can change it from subtractive to additive. And so I always say, I used to have this little box this big that I carried my tools back and forth in. And, I probably had, maybe 20 or so tools in there, and then, tools on the desk and all that. With all the variables going on in ZBrush, the size of the toolbox that you have, you couldn't even fit it in a room. Which, the average ZBrush user is probably using less than 10% of the program. I know a lot of Photoshop users say the same thing.
Yeah.
Because it's just so versatile. There's things you can do for animation, for video games, for illustration. the part that we use it for, like the production sculpting aspect of it, is a tiny part of what ZBrush is used for, to the point where it's taken several updates and alterations in the program over the years, where it's really kind of caught up with like the toy makers and model makers and things like that. Like early on when I was getting into it, like it was very hard to find information on that, because the end use was always for a gaming model or for people taking it and rendering it out into an illustration.
Eric, what was the first produced digital sculpt you guys did for a toy, and what was the last traditional toy sculpt you guys did as Four Horsemen Studios, or do you remember what the transition was?
You know, some of it was kind of like eased into. I think like the first like full piece that I did digitally that went into production was the decrepit Mumra for Thundercats for Mattel. So and that was one where it's just like, you know, some of the thin wispy things going on with it. Like I was able to immediately, I didn't even know what I was doing, but I was able to take advantage of what the program had to offer. Awesome. The last traditional, that's probably a little tougher. It would have been something in Mythic, because like Mythic Wave 1 was all traditional with like a little bit of digital assist.
Okay.
Advent of Decay was like 50-50.
Okay.
And then, you know, we've gotten to the point where it's 100%.
Yeah.
That was for me one of the things that was so exciting about Cosmic, is that Cosmic started digitally, so we didn't have to go in and scan traditional pieces and like rebuild our library digitally, because that we have had to do for Mythic, and it's, you know, it's time consuming and a lot of troubleshooting, just with trying to make sure everything was compatible, like from a fit standpoint and the articulation and everything like that. So I mean, you know, we're getting something that at least loosely resembles a human head.
Yeah.
You ever taken one of your sculpts from a demo session and refined it more to put it into production?
Yes, actually, from the first one that I did, that became the alternate head for the Tusk Science Officer.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that was, and I you know, I wanted to do that. As soon as we did that session, I just thought, you know, that would be a really fun aspect to having one of these sessions, and then bringing it all the way into production eventually. And you know, that when I did that session, there might have been 5 people in the room when I did it. So it was, you know, it's cool like that those 5 people got to see that happen. But and so far that's the only one. Like parts of other ones have been like kind of cut apart and like reworked to where they were not as recognizable. But
It's got inspiration from it.
yeah, because again, like, you know, like I said, I don't know what I'm going to be. I don't know what I'm going to be sculpting when I, you know, walk into this room. So some of the, you know, the requests are like some really wacky, wild things. So this what I just did here, I just inserted these spheres, and that's the way a lot of times you like will add body parts, eyeballs, like so the way these pieces are, like a head for a standard Mythic or Cosmic figure sometimes can be up to like made up of like 50 parts. You know, like each tooth is a separate piece. The ears are separate, eyelids are separate. And so you can work individual areas without affecting other areas. and so like sometimes the pieces can get very complex, but the ability to work pieces separately is such a huge advantage. So I just inserted those and then separated them out of the head, and so now these are like I said, they're separate pieces that can be manipulated and moved around without without affecting what I already laid down with the head. And a lot of times, like, for an ear, like that is where, I would take an existing ear and work off of it. Often a human ear in a lot of cases. But, it's basically like starting with an armature. Because like an ear is a pretty time-consuming, like complex shape. So if I can get a little head start on that, I can spend my time on other things, and that's the beauty of this. There's a lot of time-saving like shortcuts and measures, but it's they're not used so we can cheat or like get away with something. It's so that the time can go somewhere else. Sure. And again, that's where I say like the digital has allowed us to just make so much more than we could have otherwise, and really fill these lines out in a way that it would be very hard to otherwise. So yeah, like instead of spending hours on essentially rebuilding an ear that I've already done 10 times, if I had imported existing ears here, I wouldn't be spending time on this, and I'd already be on something else, whether the demon parts or.
When the technology started to emerge, were you a quick adopter or were you resistant?
Very resistant. Very resistant, to the point where I have, I definitely have regret with that, because mostly from the standpoint, like if the further back, if we would have started, that means our library would have been digital.
Capacity was so much higher. Oh yeah.
So like, even like back when we were doing Masters Universe Classics for Mattel and then for Super 7, we were like 10 years in of clay prototypes and molds, and thousands of pounds of molds on racks and all this stuff. If we would have been digital at the beginning of that, it all would have been files, and since Masters was all compatible pieces and reused parts, it would have increased the speed and the ability to be more efficient with those figures as well. So if then it was like, well, if we would have started back then, it would have made Masters so much easier. And then if we would have started 5 years later than that, then Mythic would have been digital from the beginning. But you can't really look back either. But
do you ever go back and just every once in a while physically sculpt just to do it, test if you still got it?
Sometimes I like play around with the kids, like if they get Sculpey out and stuff like that. I don't enjoy it as much as this though. It's just for one thing, like it's harder for me as I'm older to see it. Like with Castelline, it hurt my hands more like as time went on, just because it's it was a material that you heat up and it gets very soft, but like it the hybrid aspect of it turned almost into a wax, so it was this really hard material to manipulate. So even just those like kind of practical aspects of it, I was even getting like a little bit burnt out, and then once I switched over to digital and figured it out, like it reinvigorated my love for this stuff completely. It just because it's like what I never expected with it was that I knew like from the technical like time saving standpoint and like efficiency aspects and all that stuff, it was going to there was going to be a lot of advantage. The thing that I never expected with it is that creatively, it propelled everything forward, because you from idea to reality is so much more immediate. And as a creator, like we have so many ideas, and there's never enough time to like get it done and get it out there. And so if you can do twice as many ideas, it's just there's a fulfilling aspect to that. And it just it's more fun, more exciting. And I don't know. There's still way more ideas than there are products, but I'm happy with the level that we can accomplish right now. I'm gonna show you here the same thing like I did with the ears. I'm gonna really roughly pop in some eyeballs here. Like I would normally lay in the eyeballs and then create separate eyelids so that everything can be manipulated and like really fine-tuned. Here I'm not going to do that. I'm just let's kind of roughen these in. Once we get to the demon portion of this too, like we can go a little crazy with it. But again, so they're separate, and then it's cool because you can play with size, you can play with distance. And again, like you can take symmetry off and have one slightly higher or angled one way or the other. So the ability to get in and like give those individual bits of character and life to the piece. It's just so much versatility there.
Erica, you guys have done some product that is sometimes based on an actor's face, like the Conan. Didn't you work on some other Conan stuff for Super 7?
Yeah, we did some of that.
In those cases, are you starting from models that have been made of the performers, or do you start those from scratch as well?
Generally from scratch. That was a big thing when digital first came out. That was a huge part of it. When Gentle Giant was really the one who kind of got it like mainstream in the industry, and they were scanning was a huge part of it early on, and that was like what they offered is they would go to sets and they would like all the cast of Lost, they'd scan everybody, or whatever production was in, they would go, they bring their portable scanning thing. And so, and actually what they really started with was wrestling. It was WWF at the time, wrestling, and that was where it really pushed the digital thing, and it was all scans to the point where mostly it was head scans on top of hand sculpted figures, but then they started doing ones that were actually full body scans and all this other stuff. It was, again, that was a big sell-in for digital early on, but it had limitations because a lot, and the pitfalls of it were that a lot of people, they were going in and doing the scan and outputting it, and they weren't going in and retouching it. And so the figures, they would come out and they almost looked like they had a glaze over them. Like it was very soft and just like the kind of void of detail, really.
Kind of like an uncanny valley kind of thing to it.
Yeah, and so it ultimately, like it turned a lot of people off. And so even Gentle Giant, they started realizing they needed to do the retouching on it. But I feel like scanning has fallen much more out of favor because there's also, like, if you're doing a head this big, if you take just a normal human head and shrink it down, like eyelids, for example, they're going to get lost. So there's a certain art to over sculpting, and that's actually a big to me that's a big aspect of it is, and it's like having a 3D printer on hand, like will propel your your digital sculpting ability very rapidly, because I can take this head when I'm done, put it on the printer, come in the next day and see, oh man, that skin texture, like it doesn't even show up. And from a production standpoint, it's got to look good on the print, then it's got to go through tooling, it's got to go through production, and then it's got to get a layer of paint on the top of it. So like sometimes, like if I'm doing a skin texture on a face, like to make it look like work as a print and look good, like it's somewhat like grotesque looking, like on screen. Like it looks like, I remember the first time I did it on the Ogre, like it looked like the skin was like an orange peel, but like I kept printing and printing and printing, and then finally got it to just do trial and error. And so that's part of it. As you're doing this, you start to figure it out a little bit. But I've been doing it for a long time now. There's still a trial and error standpoint. There was a piece I was working on the other day and had George print it for me, and then that night went home and started redoing it immediately. And that's why a lot of times, like I won't just finish a figure and like print it all at once. Like I always like will run test pieces just to make sure.
I can imagine too that some of the scanning probably produces a lot of complexity. Like when you scan something, because it's not asymmetrical and it's not right.
Yes.
There's a lot of jargon that kind of gets mixed into the script, the sculpt.
Absolutely. Like I'm not a big fan of doing it, and that's why I was saying like when we had to come in and rescan all the Mythic stuff and like create a digital library out of it. I mean, it sucked. Mm-hmm. Like it was because nothing's in symmetry. Like it's the orientation within the program. Like it's not where it's supposed to be, and so it's a lot of work. Like starting from scratch is much better, but you don't have the touch points of what's that socket size supposed to be, or how does it line up with this forearm with this bicep or whatever. And so again, now the work's been done, so moving forward it makes life a lot easier. But yeah, but it is necessary at times. So we have the scanning equipment here, and we do use it, and it is a vital tool to have for sure. But the need for it as we build up that library is less and less, though. All right, so I'm going to call this acceptable enough for the human face. I mean, a human face is something that, like an alien, you knock out pretty quickly because nobody can tell you what the alien's supposed to look like. Human face, everybody looks in a mirror every day. They know what a human face looks like. Right. But so this is I don't want to spend the entire time on the human face because the demon part is the fun part. Right. So, all right. So we're gonna do that's what we will do, kind of like a half and half though. So like that. And like something like that, that's a fun decision process if you're doing like this, because like, how do you make that split between, and just so you see, I'm taking the symmetry off here, so like safety net is gone, and so, but part of this is like, you're talking about like visual language, and so like, how are you telling the story of a quick enough read where when you look at this, that this is a human that's being corrupted into a demon. And so there's a lot of decisions to make there. But certainly going half and half is a very sure way to tell that story clearly. And I hear, the doing it quickly like this, there's not a lot of subtlety involved. These are pretty broad strokes, but we're saying demon. So, quickest way to say we're doing a demon is to throw a horn on it. And if we're doing the half and half thing, it's just going to be the one horn. And this point is always fun doing something like this, because just the possibilities of the shape here and the size and eventually the texture and details, like it's so unlimited. You could put 3 horns on one side, or you could do like just comically oversized horns that just have like a level of boldness to it that could end up being very striking addition to this piece. So there's your horn kind of dropped in. And doing this sort of stuff, like where you're playing with asymmetry, and like gross skin, stretching and stuff like that. That's where it's just it's playtime. Doing armor, hard surface type things like that. Like it's much more tedious and like exacting and stuff. It's certainly there's a pleasure in working on that as well. But this is where you can just kind of let loose and kind of let the tools and the clay, the digital clay, actually start guiding the decision making. Because that's something I have always been a huge fan of, is having a certain level of control over what's happening and a certain idea, but also being open to letting things happen on the fly, and just like letting the inspiration hit as you're working on the piece. And that was a surprise going over to digital for me as well, is that on the surface you would think, because you have so much control in the digital format, that you would lose that kind of immediacy and kind of freewheeling aspect that, because in traditional, would literally take a piece of clay and just like shove it like onto the head or whatever, and take a tool and smear it in, and then you might get some very unusual shape and run with it. And it's the sort of thing, like you couldn't really calculate it in your brain necessarily, but when you see it happen, you get some beautiful things out of it that you just wouldn't have imagined on your own.
When you're in the creative process, are you ever considering, all right, I like this, but the reality to bring it to scale and mass produce it may not fit within the confines of what you want, the item you're sculpting is. Like, it could be too cost prohibitive. It could be the factory's not set up to do the,
Yeah. You can ask Chris about this. I very much have the attitude of letting the creative be the lead, and that's the way we do things in general. And like sometimes it gets us into trouble. Sometimes it makes things much more difficult than it needs to be, like on a production end or a packing end or shipping, whatever. But like I said, we let that creative take the lead. And so Necronominus, that wave was a really good example of me pushing way too hard. And then when it came time to get it to the factory, we were asking a lot, just with all the tiny bones and spindly pieces and crazy undercuts and stuff like that. And so, there were some challenges there, but I'm of the mind they can do it if they want. They can figure it out. They're very resourceful. With the way that they can take a head that we send over that's one piece and turn it into 15 pieces that perfectly fit together. I have confidence in what they can do, and generally, I'm right. Like they can, if they put the effort in, they can pull it off, and it may be more expensive for us, or maybe a little more time consuming, but it's if we're not pushing, it's just like resting on our laurels. It's not going to be exciting. For you, if it gets too repetitive, it's, at a certain point, it's, there's just going to be a burnout. So, and then it's just like creatively and just, keeping us excited in the studio, like, we want to keep pushing it and like, pushing our craft and, pushing the creativity and, just making the coolest thing we can possibly make.
Eric, just giving you a heads up that you got about 20 minutes left.
Oh, plenty of time. Okay, good.
So ZBrush question.
Yeah.
So say you wanted to do a bunch of little horns along his chin or something, you can set those up where they're all having symmetry among themselves. So if you sculpt one, they all change. Is that possible like you did with the ears?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so you can just like add a bunch of little.
Yeah, and like there's since I have 20 minutes, I'll show you. Like this is like the type of thing that like, again, like that, talking about that like unlimited toolbox that. So what I'm going to do here, I opened up a separate file. I'm bringing in another sphere, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a very rough little horn piece.
Oh, so you can just copy and paste it basically. Huh?
Even better than that. So, little detail on there. I'm going to do this orientation on it. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to create an insert mesh brush. And then I'm going to go back here. And, and now I can do this in symmetry or not in symmetry.
Oh, okay.
And then, I would set it up a little more specifically, but, then it can be manipulated. And then, you mentioned cut and paste. So that's creating an insert tool, or I can also duplicate it and then pull another one out. And then I can even increase the size. Nice. I can rotate it. And I can take it out of symmetry. And actually, I'll do it this way. I'll mask one of them off and then move that one separately. So it's out of symmetry. Or
that's cool.
I could do
Like if you wanted them just on the one side that's mutated and the other one's smooth, you could split it up.
absolutely.
Like that, right?
So that's what, like, I masked that one off, and then I'm gonna split unmasked points. So hold on a second. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. And then I can just get rid of that. And, I like it. And if I'm doing a half and half, it's not like I would never do like the old two-face style where it's just a line down the middle. You want, the humanity creeping into one side a little bit, and realistically more, you want the demon creeping into the human side a little bit. A lightly corrupted demon is
more
not
Mephistopheles, less Tony.
Yeah.
Slightly corrupted human.
And then like, again, like having these parts separated, like now I can, take that ear and start manipulating that out. And this is so cool. In some cases, like the eyeballs, you might want to keep those like set. Like that's the one like touch point where you want to maintain that human baseline. So that's such a relatable feature. But it depends like how freaky you want the character to look. So if I take this out of symmetry, again I'll mask off the one, and then we can blow this one up. And then it's just going more and more corrupted here. And then I'll kind of now that that's in there, work the skin around it, and like just the ability to to be able to go in and just use different tools that get these slightly different effects. Certainly, in like you want a variety in the textures and shapes and forms. And here, we've got the stretching skin going on, but then now I can, run a vein over the top of it. So just having these kind of these crisscrossing design features here, it starts to layer up. And then that's, I'm working all positively there. Then I can take this Damien Standard brush again, which is, one of the most used brushes. Start subtracting some stuff out here.
I know last year obviously you're had been working on Necronominus. You were talking about kind of studying all the bones of the body. How much research are you doing on just anatomy in general? You're talking about adding veins and stuff there. Is that something that you spend quite a bit of time on?
Yeah. That's the reference part. I can't stress enough. That's my setup at home is it's somewhat similar to this, but I'm on a desktop, so I've got my big monitor on one side and then my big Cintiq on the other, and generally I'm working on the Cintiq, and then I've got reference up on the other one. I just have tabs and tabs and tabs open on my browser. And it's actually one of the parts that I could really enjoy about this stuff is depending on what the subject matter is, going into a deep dive with the research and both reading on it and visual research as well. That's why the figure obscuras are so much fun, because there's some of these there's a built-in history lesson, and it's going into a place that we don't go with the other two lines. But yeah, the research is a big part of it. So yeah, I don't know how many anatomical figures I've sculpted over the years, from back to Spawn to the He-Mans and all this stuff. But I still am not comfortable enough to where if I'm going to do sculpt out an arm, I don't pull reference up again, just so that I don't get too just like, I don't know, just like on autopilot. You know, you always find something new, and you know, where you can tweak it a little differently or address it in a way that you haven't addressed it before. So yeah, absolutely. But yeah, the bone thing was fun last year. Like that was, I just like lived bones for a while, and so that's what, like, each one of like these like face-off type waves. There's been like, I'm going like deep into, you know, a certain type of texture and subject matter and stuff. So you'll see tomorrow. You can pick out which one of those that I've been you know, staring at until I'm cross-eyed.
I'm guessing a lot of that went into like the skeleton heads pack too, with, you know, different, you know, types of animal skulls and stuff.
Yeah, which I love sculpting animals and drawing animals and stuff. I always have. So, and I've always loved skeletons and skulls and all that. So that was a nice combination. And that's what like sometimes what happens with this stuff too is, you know, the plan is this character needs a head or maybe an alternate head, and then, you know, I'll end up doing 6 by the end, just because like it's hard to stop. And like when you know, like, you know, if it's the animal skull zone that I'm in, then you can just keep going and going. And you know, I kind of look at it like if the energy is there and the excitement's there, like there's no reason to try to suppress that. Like take advantage of it and you know, make some stuff. You know, I can make up the time. You know, make up the time later on.
So is that kind of how that skull head pack came to be? Like you just couldn't stop and kept, or did you go into it with the intention of making a heads pack?
Not at all. And you know, like that's the sort of thing too. Like where when the tuberculi was out, CB walks in and he goes, "You got to make me a gorilla head for that." And I was like, "Well, okay, I got to make a gorilla head. How can I say no to that?" Yeah. So then, you know, and then it just, the head pack started to make sense. And that's, you know, we do plan a lot ahead of time, but there are, as well planned as we are, sometimes things just happen on the fly. Like, you know, an idea will present itself, or a request will come up on the Cabal, or a show or something like that. And it's like, oh, that's really good. Yes, we'll do that. All right. So, yeah.
So once you're done sculpting, do you do like trying to figure out like the color scheme for it? Do you do all that? Is that all done digitally first before you print them to do the painting?
More and more, yes. Where are we at now? 1047. That's a good question. So I'll kind of show you, because yeah, it's because I used to do like write out these detailed lists for Sherry and Cameron, and you know, it was, you know, going back and forth exploring the colors and all this. Now I'm doing it more and more, and it's for multiple reasons. Like I do them for Cosmic, we use it on the packaging. So like I have to do every character anyway. So I just do it early to assist with the paint. But it also, like when I'm doing when I'm working with CJ on soft goods, I need to set, like, the easiest way for me to do it is to send him a render. So it's the clearest way for him to see, like, at least generally what we want with soft goods. And so color is a part of that. So I'll at least color in the soft goods just for that, you know, that stage in the game with him. So yeah, it's becoming more and more a part of the process, and and sometimes it's not like a full, like every single detail is not done. I'll just like block in the colors, because again, much like the sculpting part of it, you know, there's a lot of ability to just I can look very quickly and see, well, how does this look green or blue or purple? And then this is reflected plastic B. I can switch over to use this one a lot, sketch shaded too. And so this has a more matte finish, or I can pick one of the metallics. And you can do it if say this was a single piece, I can paint the face in the matte finish. I can do a high gloss on the eye. I could do a metallic on the horn if I wanted to. And so just again, as far as creativity and visualizing quickly and efficiently, it's just an amazing thing because I can duplicate this head here 5 times, save, do each one of those heads in a different color. And I think we showed it on Ziri. I had done at least two fully realized color comps of the head with all the spotting and everything on the face. And again, for me to do that in a matter of minutes in ZBrush, as opposed to having Sherry or Cameron prime and paint and go in and do all those little dots and stuff. I knew before they even touched it that the bright pink was not the way to go. So it's another really nice way for us to be able to move the process along. And that's what, with the amount of work that we're doing, efficiency is a big part of it. Trying to the quicker we can get stuff out, the quicker production can happen. We're always trying to pull that timeline back.
So I know you've said in the past, there's a lot of creative freedom for the painters to kind of try things and stuff like that. So as you're talking about this, as far as coloring these things ahead of time and giving them an idea, does that limit some of what they're doing creatively because they kind of got to stick to your idea, or do they still try some new things with that?
They definitely try new things. And it's also Sherry and Cameron, their process and what they want to have prepped ahead of time is different. Sherry likes very specific instruction. And she's, there's still a lot of creativity in kind of running with it once she gets it, but she likes more of a foundation. Whereas Cameron really likes to experiment. Has a background in doing miniatures and, all kinds of more effects driven painting, with, light sources, built into the paint scheme and things like that. And just likes experimenting with color theory and stuff like that. So, there's in the wave coming up, there, was a couple of times where I didn't do anything for Cameron. It just let them run with it.
So did their styles play into who you assign what things to?
Their styles and just what they're excited about. Sherry loves painting the female characters, so for the most part, Sherry gets the female characters. It's just, absolutely. It's, because if they're inspired and they're having a good time with it, it shows in the product. And, never a disappointed day getting, walking in here and looking at a paint master they're doing. And more often than not, still flabbergasted sometimes. Some again go back to Ziri and Vorga and stuff like that and Cosmic, especially Vorga, the ask of Sherry on those was a lot because there's a lot of kind of crisscrossing fades and blocked out colors and stuff like that, and then walk in and it's I just nailed it immediately, and it's just it's incredible to be able to walk in and hand something that I've been working on off, and just be able to have the confidence in the people that I work with that I have nothing to worry about. It goes where it's supposed to go,
Now, the next breakout session we're going to have, first we're going to see, they've handed us a sheet to order figures. So we have like a private shopping experience where there's a list, and you can have all of them if you want, but you can only have one of each. You circle the figures you want. And so you can't have that. We'll come back to that a little bit later in the video. But the next thing is with Jim, another of the Horsemen, another one of the owners, and he's going to take us a tour. So the Horsemen themselves share this studio with like a movie prop company that makes props for movies. And so there's a much larger space above them and behind them that has all sorts of stuff where they're making things for movies. So we go on a tour. It's hard to hear him because there's people actively working, like making things. And also it's just like Wonka's Wonderland of things. And so we're just going to walk through. We're going to check out all the props in the movie studio. At the end, there is one thing that that we weren't allowed to film that is debuting coming up at LegionsCon. So if you're watching this video, if you're at LegionsCon, it's already out, so it's not a spoiler anymore. But there is a life-size Ziri, like the Ziri inspired Ziri, just like there was the Oleg. And they were literally hand painting it and putting it together. And we got to see that, didn't film it, no photos. So that was at the end, so we didn't show that. But here we go on a tour with Jim. Tour time. And he's got the stuff we can purchase. Oh yeah.
They're SLA printers, and what that means is this bath that's underneath, you see the bath that's under there, that is a photosensitive material, like life-size hands, and so you'll see that on some of those pieces over there were printed by this. The smaller ones we usually use for the action figures.
So what's printing in there right now?
Some kind of cosmic.
Well, at the end it says butt.
It says butt. To do all the metal work. In the middle here is general construction. To the left is where they do all the painting. If you look over there, if you take a quick look over there, you'll see the lights. Those are all color corrected for sunlight. So when they paint, it's more or less in the same.
Wow.
And the basket.
Huh. Wow. Huh.
This machine, all the moves of the machine have to be rainbow. Otherwise, like I said, that machine.
That's foam, Kent, right there. That's foam. That's a little different than going to your old Home Depot. That's a lot of foam. Oh, we have to go up those stairs. That's not made for me, Kent. That's not a big guy thing. Oh,
one step at a time.
Yep.
Curio shop.
We went up those stairs. Yeah, we've emerged into curiosities. All these are props from various things. Wow. Huh. Trophy. I mean, I don't even understand. I guess if you need to make things for movies, you just need to have a lot of stuff on hand. Look, it works. That TV works. Wow. We're just in the prop shop. Is that an old 3D printer right there? OG. Wow. Assorted meatballs, 2 turkey dinners, rubber chicken eggs, big melons. Huh. Do you think somebody like knows where everything is? Or do they just come wander about? Oh yeah, probably. There must be some sort of Dewey Decimal System situation. Yep. 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 Wow. Assorted cocktail full shot glasses. Full tum dimples.
CJ would love this room. Yeah, this would be.
You'd be right here tinkering.
And he'd be
This is the sewing room. Bus. There's the bus. Thank you. Hey, buddy. I guess they're making clouds in here. I know I'm not really narrating because I don't know what I'm seeing, and it's hard to hear Jim, but it's just cool to see all this. Got big pants and a big head. I could rock that. I could rock that. While I'm having fun, I put Walter to work. He's been helping me with my prize.
Oh.
Got it at PowerCon. Yeah, absolutely, of course. He's getting all the signatures for me. He's the man.
I got only a few left to get. CB's not here yet, and then
I'll go ahead and give you a good game. Good game.
Thanks, buddy.
Good game.
Some white on all the top surfaces. Feel free to jump in.
Help getting it ready.
All right?
How often do you get to paint with
Dig in.
a horseman? I'm gonna take advantage of that. Definitely.
So our next breakout session, so we've looked at kind of a tour of the studio and how they fabricate things and whatever else is going on in there. We've learned how to sculpt. We're gonna paint. So our group gets split in half. We got Cameron, we got Sherry, who are some of the lead painters for the studio, and we were in the room with Cameron. And he's just gonna talk to us about his process, his paints. I don't spend as long with these breakout sessions because it's a lot of questions going all over the place. Plus, we're all cramped in a room, whereas with Eric, I could stand up a tripod. So it's kind of some random clips about his process and how he paints, how they hand paint, how they get things ready for the factory, and so forth. And then also Joe comes in, and he has the lizard. I can't remember the name of the character from the Ox Crew Wave. He's getting prototypes ready for G-Con that you will see next week. And so he's dremeling things and getting stuff ready. And I just filmed a little bit of that because I thought it was interesting. So here's that session.
This is where I work over here at this station. Back here in this corner, this is where when Bill Mancuso is in here and he's doing painting and other production stuff, he works over here. Over there on that other desk, that's Joe Vasapolo. He also does some painting and a lot of production stuff in here. Has Jim taken you on the tour yet? Have you seen the 3D printing room?
Yeah.
You have? Okay, so the 3D printing room is right there. Like a Pantone guide book right here. One of these goes for, I think, like well over $700.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But for instance, they'll say, okay, you've got the Optimus Prime and the blue has to be, let's just pick one at random here. I'm like, all right, this is it. It's Pantone 2935. So we know that if they send us that reference, that's the blue, and we have to match that blue exactly when we're painting that toy. So we keep these around because when we do that, or if we have a Pantone reference for anything, this is our go-to. Match these colors, and we'll usually discuss it. And sometimes it's like, that's just approximate, or sometimes no, I want exactly that. And then we'll discuss. What effect we're looking for, because obviously there's different ways to interpret this, flat art when you're talking about converting it to something three-dimensional each time. This is not only a light box, it's the filter. It's not strong enough for me to say prime in here like a rattle can. I'll go somewhere else. But it's got the filter filter right at the back here, and clean air comes out the top. It's a little noisy.
Got it.
But that is enough that we can airbrush, right in this room.
Do you find it easier to just use the shades and the contrast rather than making your own ink blends? Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I tried to dabble in some of the ink blends. It just seems like a pain. It's just better to go buy it because you're not using as much.
Yeah. When I have a shade or something, or I want to do like a glaze, like this is just a single contrast paint of blue over the clear. The contrast paints will give you that glaze. The shades will give you more of a wash effect. Some detail is big enough for some base coat. Now, I won't use this for base coating large areas because it's not
I was gonna say,
That's so cool.
Plans for a
that little troll miniature.
No, there's been some discussion, but there's no plans.
Yeah.
I would love it if we could, if we had the
the opportunity and the means to expand into something like that. But again, that's my hobby is miniatures and stuff. So
now we get a lunch break. Jersey style pizza. I'm not sure what the difference is between Jersey style pizza and New York style pizza. It was good. We had a good time. But again, they provided desserts. They had breakfast in the morning. They provided all this stuff as part of the experience. So a little break, relax, hang out with people, lunch break.
What you going for, Kent? What you going in on? A little bit of all of it? Or are you going to stay healthy? Wings, fingers, a little bit of all of it. Lunchtime. Lunch was good. They just said that there's a dessert truck. So I'm going to have to investigate if there's truly a dessert truck. Oh, there is. It says Polka Dot Cake Shop. Oh, look at this. Kent. Look. Cake pops. Boston cream pie jars. Oh, wow. Boston cream pie jar. Cookie. Yeah, cookie. So we're like halfway through, Kent. Lunchtime. We've had lunch.
Yeah, we worked. Now
we have a jar of Boston cream pie. Purple time. Are you coming for cookies and cream?
Of course.
Yes. Yeah. It's delicious. We're having a good time. A Boston cream pie jar. That's what you need in your life. Boston cream pie jar. Bill's here. Bill has joined us. You missed us last night, the fire. Will you be at the fire tonight?
I came in today. I will be there today.
Yeah. Yes.
Fire talk.
Fire talk. Fire in action. Yeah, pop and swap and fire.
Now we get back into it, and we're back to our breakout sessions. So now we get the 2 30-minute breakout sessions, and we're going to start with Nate Barsh, who does the art for the packaging and the backdrops and all of that. And this is really fascinating to hear about his process. He kind of helped us be a part of his process as he's designing a Cosmic Legion packaging for an upcoming figure in the Outpost Zaxius wave, and just kind of learn about what he does. So I've filmed a good bit of this, and again, seeing like his process, his creative process, because packaging is a really important part. I think it's fascinating how he talked to us about how he learns when he gets the figure. Most figures, at the same time we're getting revealed, he's getting revealed. Because his packaging part is late in the process, so he doesn't necessarily get it early. So here we go with Nate.
And they're starting to put their final approval on what they're seeing from the factory. That's kind of the moment that I kick off and start the packaging. So in all honesty, I'm a horrible person to ask of what's coming up next, unless it deals with Figure Obscura. Because Figure Obscura, I do get a headshot or a well in advance look at what's happening. But even with Figure Obscura, I almost never see the final figure put together. I'm only getting like sculpt screenshots from Eric directly on those. So I know what the character is, I know what the story's about. I kind of have a rough idea of what the figure looks like because I can see the 3D sculpt from Eric, but I've not actually seen the figure put together. So for example, tomorrow, when we all get to see the rising star, that thing, Snow Bear and Red Star, we all know what it is. So when I see that, I'll be seeing all those things put together for the first time, just like the rest of you. Okay. And in fact, I have some idea because Eric and I talk about stuff, but I don't know what the entire wave is going to look like. So it's like Christmas morning for me as well. So just so you're aware, I don't have all the secrets, but I have some secrets. But I'm not going to share them because I want to keep my job. So with the packaging, because I'm at the end of it all, what you're seeing is literally my messy process of how I start boxes. So you're looking at the roughs. You're not looking at fine details of anything yet, because that happens when I have the rough and I have the direction, and then I just got to put the headphones on and either listen to a good book or jam out to my favorite music, and then just go and let it happen. And that's when it becomes finished artwork. But
is that Cisco's The Thong Song?
What's that?
Thong Song?
Thong Song?
Yeah, Cisco.
I can't say that's in my...
That's not in the list. Well,
iTunes list. But
different artists have different approaches.
Right, I may look that up though, man. Yeah. Box art. I just paint happy stuff, right? That's all I do. The way I start this, previous interns of the past, I've usually come into it having a piece of packaging art that is like about halfway or more than halfway done, So you're seeing me start instead from the very beginning, and everything that is up on here right now has been input from all the other interns that have gone through, which is kind of cool. So I'm really sharing with you more my process. By all means, feel free to stop and ask me questions on any part of it or anything else.
Do you, real quick, do you create the box shape, the design of how the box can come in, or is that template come to you and you paint on that as your canvas?
That's a template that comes to me. That's a great question, because you would think as packaging design that I would have influence on that, and actually that's more Chris and Eric.
Okay.
Like that kind of comes from them. Like for example, the figure obscura, we knew we wanted something more deluxe, and Chris, because of he has a lot of vast previous knowledge from other companies, he kind of knows what he wants and what works best, what produces well at the factory, that kind of a thing. So he shoots for that. I've also worked with like Roy Juarez at Mattel, and Roy Juarez is a packaging designer. He's like, his whole job is focused on how can we make this box as unique as possible. And so I've been able to do a lot of fun projects with him there. But in terms of like what the box is itself, that's more on Chris. Really, my end of things is I'm just going to put the pretty artwork on the box.
That frees you up, like this as bandwidth, right? If you had to actually take in a box, but now you can just go straight to it. That's
Exactly.
Nice.
So I am not a trained graphic designer, like, not even a little. Like any graphic design that I've had to do and that I've come up with, and all of this stuff is very much graphic design stuff. But I'm leaning on the shoulders of both Jeremy and Eric, who were they went to school and they actually did actual graphic design stuff. I'm an illustrator that has learned graphic design along the way. If I'm not mistaken, you have a graphic design background, right?
Yeah.
So you know the differences between just straight up illustration versus actually thinking about the whole experience.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I start every piece and every package with basically those die lines. Like with most clients, they're always, I just paint this really cool character. We'll figure it out in the layout later. I'm like, please no. Please give me the actual dimensions of the canvas that I need to work within.
Just gotta think about bleed, like if it's gonna go over the guidelines and.
Exactly, and so you'll notice how much bleed I give all this stuff. You can see the inch marks. The minimum industry standard is 1/4 inch, but I always try to give about a 1/2 inch. And I just do it just because, and Photoshop has made that so much easier lately. This is one area where I approve of AI art. So Adobe actually is incorporated AI. I don't use it to generate actual artwork, but if I need to extend a bleed somewhere, it's like, yes please, just fill that in, because we don't care.
Yeah.
So I'll use that a lot. The style for Cosmic so far. Not to say that we can't break away from that at some point, but if I have questions, it's nice to have a set of principles that I can rely back on, if that makes sense. But where the fun happens for me in these boxes, for the most part, are the individual inserts. Inserts are a funny thing because, and I tell myself this every time with the figure obscura packaging in particular, I keep thinking, I need to try to buy myself some time and make the insert really simple, because nobody cares about the inserts. And I know that that's not true. There's a lot of people that love those inserts. And unfortunately, I can never go simple. Like even on the last one that I did that has to remain unnamed right now, the last insert that I did for Figura, I remember telling George, like, yeah, no problem, I'm gonna keep that insert really super simple. Not even a little. And that's okay, because I know people will take these out, they pose their figures in front of them. That's why we do that. It's like I want to take that opportunity to give you guys just a little more than just the figure itself, but a little bit of the world around it as well. So for Kaylee and Shun, all of the previous interns and myself have come up with this idea. There's a couple ways that I approach inserts in general. I mean, there are multiple ways to approach them, but for the most part, when I'm thinking of colors, I first of all, I got to imagine what the figure looks like on top of it. So I'll pull up pictures of Kaylin. Where are we? No, wrong pad. There we go. not necessarily this picture, we were talking about something else there, but if I'm looking at this figure, I asked Jeremy, so a lot of the questions I'll have is I'll ask Jeremy, it's like, how is this figure being packed? Because she has two heads. Is she going to have a helmet head on, or is she going to have the unhelmeted head on? And I've learned just today that it's probably going to be the helmet head. So I'm like, okay, cool, that helps guide a little bit what I want to do with the background. The two methods that I was talking about, or I alluded to before, was I could either go complementary colors, like complete opposite colors. She's very blue and orange. Those are already complementary colors. Like, they're already the opposites of each other. So I was like, well, let's look at her story and who she is. She's a bounty hunter. She's very disciplined. She comes from an elite group of bounty hunters, so I would think she would be comfortable with, I want to see you before you see me, kind of a thing. Like, I'm here to protect this person, but you need to not see me, so that if you try something on that person, I'm going to be there and stop you, kind of a thing.
And then our final breakout session is with 1/6 shooter Trevor, who you've seen a lot in this video, and you'll see a lot in the next video. Good guy, good buddy. We hang out. And he talked to us about how he shoots the promo shots. So not just like the all black shots that we see when we pre-order, but the action shots and how he frames it and lights it, and really fascinating. And honestly, I should have filmed more than I did, but I was really into it, like asking questions and listening and learning, because that's an area that I'd really like to get better at. So really, really fascinating, and to see how he gets the promo shots ready so that it helps sell it, right? We order a lot of stuff based on the pictures that we see. So here we are with Trevor.
And yeah, so this is the kind of thing, like these discs, this is all resin printed. If they don't, there's no stick there. There's no tactileness. So yeah, I mean, this is what you deal with. So what I do is I'll put tape, this medical tape. It's really, really super thin, so you can build it up really super thin, and it'll start to, just, because you also don't want to break the resin. The resin will break if you put too much pressure on it. So you want to get that nice balance of, tactileness.
Friction to hold.
Yeah, friction, tactileness to hold it. And also be able to move it and then put it in a pose, because after I take the turns, I want to try and get this guy in a cool pose and stuff. So
Has one ever put you in timeout where you had to just be like, okay, I'm coming back to this?
So yeah, story time. So that's the next thing I'm telling everybody is so the last figure for this wave got to me Tuesday, and it was the last one in this one scene that I had, and I had it all set up, and I had a wire, had a really dynamic pose on it, looked really good, and I had a wire. Just sometimes you got to do this, like stuck in the dio and then holding up the arm, because that was like, I had it kind of leaning forward, so that pressure, and then you got to find the right balance for that. It was perfect. You know what I mean? And it was just leaning there, and I got down, I got all framed up, I went to turn off the light, and I heard bang. And that was it. That was over. So set it up again 7 times. This thing fell over, and I'm like, all right, I got to change the pose, man. I just can't. It's not gonna happen. Like, it's just not happening. And I was in a hurry, so otherwise I would have. I was jumping up and down like a little kid. And the reason I do that is because I'll build the fog. I'll take layers, take the ones I want, and I can go through now and go, okay, I want that little piece from up here. I like the way the light's hitting this. I like the way the fog is over there. Because the fog will change the light a little bit, you know what I mean? So I like the way, let's say, the way this is hitting here, maybe the way this fog is working over there, but I don't like it in this one as much, or it's too much up in the corner or something like that. So I'll take like 5 or 6 of these, and then I'll bring it into Photoshop, and I'm going to show you a different photo. This is the photo from the calendar for December this year. It's a brand new shot. That's not the shot. That's the shot. Oop.
This is for the 24 calendar?
Yep. So this is December. This is a brand new shot. This is using the, this is Mythic Bits. They had this dio there last year at the table, and I'm like, are you selling that? He's like, I don't want to take it home. So I'm like, all right, cool. It's great, and it's beautiful. And I've been wanting to use it forever, and I just haven't had a chance, a reason, an idea in mind. So this came out. Yeah, I'm going to do like a very like home for the holidays type of thing, which is the title. So that's how I build the stuff, and that's why I do like dozens of shots, probably hundreds of shots.
You also do full ACBA tangible too shots. Maybe not for, but I know I've seen you
set
post
it
them
up
sometimes.
tangibly,
Yeah.
but those guys don't like doing
Anything.
anything in Photoshop.
Yeah.
I mean, generally, I'm an admin there, so now I've kind of weaned them off of calling Photoshop like, oh, you Photoshop this like it's a bad word, you know?
Yeah.
You don't have to do any of this, like with snow or anything like that. You know, and this is still a tangible shot.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
this is all tangible.
Yeah.
This is all felt on the ground. This is vase filler snow. It's all, everything you see here is in the shot. It's just the snow that I added, and I go in and, you know, pick the parts that I want, which I don't. So it's not cheating.
No.
So the snow that you added, is you want to have that atmospheric
Lighting, more dramatic lighting. Light and shadow is like what you really want. You don't just want your figure to look great. You want to see why people are lit, not straight on generally, but like over to one side because it creates some shadows, and Rembrandt lighting where you get that little triangle underneath the eye from the shadows, stuff like that. That's the key to it.
So you don't use any like.
And now kind of our last breakout or our last session, we get through all that, and now you get a bust. And I think it's maybe a quarter scale. I don't know that I'd say quarter scale. Maybe 6 scale. I don't know. But you get a bust, and it is of the new alien figure who I like. I can never remember his name. Alien Cycloptus. That's very wrong. Ilias. But it's a new tall alien figure. And we get a bust. And we get to paint. And the painters are there helping us, walking around, doing that with us. At the same time, they're filling orders. So people that have made their orders for whatever figures, those are getting filled. And so I'm going to paint mine. A lot of people don't paint their bust. Unfortunately, I'm sure some people sell them. This is a thing that I'll treasure and keep forever. And I wanted to paint it. You know, you don't have a long time, an hour and a half, so it's not like you're doing fine details. But I had fun in it. I love the way mine turned out, which I'll show you in here. And then Kent and I will come back together and we'll wrap up this video as we're at the end of this one. So again, really fun. This was a fun part, a great way to end. Bring a memorabilia that's kind of personalized to you home with you.
Johnson. Peter Johnson.
Those teasers. Sneaking them, sneaking them. How does it make you feel there, Slappy?
Slap happy.
You got an extra one, big one?
Oh, if anyone yet? I'm over here in the corner.
If you got an extra one.
Looking at that alien. I like the alien.
Get your shirt.
This is what we will be painting. Or I will be painting.
You're not painting yours, huh?
No,
You're
mine,
flipping it on eBay, aren't
mine,
you? For shame!
On eBay.
For shame, no. It's about, that's a commemorative item.
And today I got an ice.
And I flipped it on eBay. For shame, Kent. Everybody shame Kent in the comments. Not really. I know his. I know what's going on the bedside table. Hey. Yes. Gonna try to paint this thing. Do you think it will be a success or a failure?
I think everything you do is successful.
Oh, well, that's such a kindness. What a kindness. It always is a mess when I paint, when I'm making a mess. I'm trying to make a little Ravens-inspired alien. Some yellow.
I feel like I'm cheating.
So,
having a
moving
nasty
right
game.
along. It's fun. Having fun. All right, I'm content with my Baltimore Ravens-inspired alien. What's his name? Ias Simplehorn? Something like that. A little bust. We've got you see Four Horsemen Intern for that. It's very cool. I like it. What a wonderful day. Let's see, let's take a journey. Folks are painting that decided to paint or finishing up their painting. That's cool. And then also they're filling orders. So we got to order on the piece of paper earlier, as you saw. And so they're filling them. You see over there, Diego, bringing people up, calling you out for whatever you ordered. So some people choose to paint their bust, and some people choose not to paint their bust, depending on what your interests are. I did paint mine. I just wanted to have the experience of going to town. cool, man. So it's a good time to see Toy Bro, Dork Layer. Lots of wonderful folks. Joe emerging from behind the Ooh La La Claw. And you just see it's good times. Good times as we wind down Intern for a day.
I'm scared.
You don't want to look scared?
I don't want to look scared. I'm all seatbelted in.
While the beep, beep, beep.
Beep, 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 beep.
So we are done with Intern for a day. And I'm actually going to end this video. It'll be the last clip of the video here. Primarily because I filmed a lot. And I don't want this to be 3 hours long. So next week, we'll pick it up with G-Con. We'll probably pick it up with later tonight with Nonsense. And then G-Con. And then LegionsCon.
Yay.
So I'll go first. That was awesome. A lot of people, I mean, if you're a Horseman fan, if you're a Mythic Legions fan, a Cosmic Legions fan, an action figure fan, or really just if you enjoy learning about how things happen.
Right.
It was really a remarkable place. I showed you a lot of what we saw. I showed you a lot of what I didn't show you a lot of what we saw. And there were certain things we couldn't film or take pictures of. Certainly thanks to Jeremy for some of the things he let me film, but it was really fun. It was really fun. It's kind of hard to describe, and I've never really seen anybody post a video showing it. So hopefully, those of you watching this, if you're watching this on Sunday while we're at LegionsCon, come say hello. If you're watching it Sunday,
hello there.
I may actually put this thing live early instead of at noon.
I like it.
I may do it overnight, like 3 a.m. or something, so that it's available for people. But you saw the whole experience. We get the 5 different kind of breakout sessions. We get to eat, we get to paint, and really just hang out with friends. What was your thoughts, Ken?
I mean, it's awesome. You have this idea like, oh, you're going to a studio, you're going to somebody's workplace, and then it was like just above and beyond. Just how kind everybody is, the time, they could just work and stuff. And they have a ton of stuff to do with the con and everything.
Yeah. I mean, multiple people were actively working, trying to get ready for the con and G-Con. And
so just taking the time that they took and how prepared they were, and they didn't have to go into the detail that they went into. It was just a great experience.
And I got my board. I showed you earlier and Walt had it. I got my board signed. Everybody, CB wasn't here today, but everybody else in the studio. C. Jesum was here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even people that are more ancillary or support from afar. I think I have everybody that has received dollars from the studio, which I think is really cool. So that's a great piece. We certainly picked up some Legions. I'll probably show you that in the next video, next week's. But
we got these for the weekend.
We got our badges. If you get the opportunity, it's not a cheap venture. It's a lottery, and then if you win the lottery, you gotta pay to come. Plus, you gotta pay to get up here. It's a thing. It's a pilgrimage type thing. If you can do it once in your life, you can try to make it work. You should do it.
Yep.
And I think this whole week is gonna feel like that. Maybe not every time I come to LegionsCon will I be here for a week.
Yeah.
But doing it at least once for the whole thing.
So many memories. And we're only this far in.
Day 2. Really, technically day 1.
Right.
I mean, yesterday was just travel day.
And we had a blast.
So it's great. Thank you to, of course, to Jeremy, but, to Jim and Eric and CB, the owners, the actual Horsemen,
yes.
and allowing this to be a thing that they have, that people can come in their studio. And, I mean, I just got paint everywhere. We get to see all kind of stuff, really. I mean, there was nothing that was off limits to our eyes.
Correct.
Certain things to the camera, but to our eyes, nothing off limits. So.
And to trust, the people that you're bringing in to see some of this stuff ahead of time, and to, it's a good relationship.
So, I mean, what you see in the Mythic Legions Cabal, what you see at shows, it's very genuine, it's true. It's even at the workplace.
Yep.
It feels like that environment. So, we are grateful. We're going to have fun the rest of this week, I know, and we're going to go get to it. But this ends this week's episode, and hopefully you're enjoying it if you're at LegionsCon. If you're not at LegionsCon, it gives you something to enjoy the same weekend. I know I put most of the sculpting And again, that was for Kaya, and I wanted her to really get to see it. It was awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
It was fantastic.
I know I have a lot of that versus the other things I only had kind of clips of, but that was something that just I felt was really good, and that the kiddo would want to see. So
no, I mean every session was knocked out, but you know, some of it with us going first and everything, just the experience we got was really cool.
Yep. So now we go take a nap and party and continue. So we'll see you next week. Kent, what do they need to do?
Rub it
and squeeze it.